Hey, so, so today is gonna be the child from The Mandalorian. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and become part of the Wayneko crew. My name is Wayne, and this is Wayneko. Now, like I was just saying, today is going to be the child from The Mandalorian. And so they recently released 3 different versions of him in 3 different scenes of the movie, basically, is where this came from. Well, I know at least where 2 of them came from. I'm not necessarily sure where the third one came from. I almost think the third one might have been a spoof on what people believe, but I don't necessarily know that to be true. So let's dive right into this, guys. So on the back of this box, they are showing 12 of them all together. They're actually showing all 3 of the childs, which I'm kind of surprised that they're showing all 3 of the childs, because to me they're almost the same thing in a slightly different variants, right? So we're gonna get these guys open and we're gonna check them out and see what's going on with them. So this one's called the Child with the Cup. He is number 378 out of the group. Every one of these guys are super cute. I mean, let's just be totally honest. Even though there's some speculation that maybe it's Yoda, I'm gonna say that my prediction is it's not Yoda, because this would be filmed some years after, not filmed, I mean, so it would in the timeline be some years after when Yoda died, right? I mean, so if we run the timeline of when the child is present versus when Yoda was present, this would have been sometime after Yoda's disappearance, right? Now look, that's just what I think. Look, that might not be true at all, but that's just what I think. So getting these guys out, I already have another one of these, and this one's actually kind of small, believe it or not. So I have the original one that they made, and I have the 10-inch one that they made, and then I recently picked up all 3 of these guys at the same time. Let's take a closer look at this one. This one's going to be the child with the cup, but I almost want to go grab my other one just to see, because this one for some reason feels like it's kind of small. Overall, they do a really good job with these guys. There's not a whole lot they could mess up in the form of the paint. I mean, I would venture to say that this flesh tone, or this pink that you want to call it, is almost left up to the artist or the person who's painting them, and they just kind of add or as much or as little as they think that it needs in order for it to look right. I mean, I'm sure that they have a general thing that they're going by. Staying true to this being a Star Wars pop, he is a bobblehead. Get him set right there. And then, so I know which scene of the movie, I know what parts these are from, and this is some of my favorite parts of this. I said movie, it's not a movie, it's a series, right? So they had I want to say it's 2 or 3 2 or 3 seasons, and they're running into another season here in October. So with this new season coming out, you're going to really see a big ramp up into the child and Mandalorian stuff. I mean, I'm just about 100% sure you're just going to see a huge ramp up in this. I'm going to get him out with the eyes closed, and I'm going to talk about this scene a little bit. So this is a Walmart exclusive. They still show 8 on the back. Well, it's 8, it's 12 on the back. He's number 385 out of the group. The boxes all look exactly the same. They're kind of following the whole Mandalorian. I like the fact that they turned him on his side, but they kind of had to turn him on his side because of his ear span. I mean, they really didn't have much of a choice, but they really fixed the problem well. I mean, they just simply took a regular box, turned it on its side, added the window right here, and that was it. I mean, it was genius the way they fixed the problem that they had to fit this guy in there. Now, this is one of my favorite scenes in this movie. So I said movie again. Okay, so it's not a movie. This is one of my favorite scenes in this episode or in this series. So in this episode of the series right here, he is slightly different scenario. Okay, so the Mandalorian's arm wrestling someone, and they're in an arm wrestling competition on the ship, and the Mandalorian almost looks as if he is losing, or maybe he's in a little pain, and the child starts to protect the Mandalorian. So it's kind of a role reversal, right? So he starts to protect the Mandalorian, and he starts choking the person that's in the arm wrestling competition with the Mandalorian. So this to me is one of my favorite parts of this series. I mean, in this episode, I mean, this became quickly one of my favorite scenes in it. Let's take a closer look at it. Now, like I was just saying, this quickly became one of my favorite scenes in this episode and in this series altogether. This is where he is just choking someone. I mean, he's using the force at this point. That's why his eyes are closed and his hands in the claw position, I guess is the best way to put it. And he is just choking them out. The paint job on them, like I said on the other one, is really good. I mean, there's just not a whole lot they could have messed up on the paint job. I wish sometimes they would do stuff a little different with the stands that they're putting him on, but I understand why they don't. I mean, what exactly would they put under him? A piece of the ship? I mean, so I understand why this guy doesn't have something like great going on under him, and sometimes they do, because they were able to take an iconic part of the movie or the series and turn it into a base. This one is my favorite one out of the group. I mean, hands down, it's just because of the part of the series it's from, right? The episode that it's from. This is my favorite one out of the group. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me. A lot of people are going to say, Wayne, that's not the best part with the child, right? That's not the most iconic part. Well, I understand. The most iconic part is when we decide that we are going to eat frogs. So if you haven't seen this series, you really should go check it out. If you're a Star Wars fan at all, maybe even if you're not a Star Wars fan, because I don't necessarily know that you have to be a Star Wars fan to like The Mandalorian, because it takes on a whole feel of its own, right? I mean, it has a lot of the characters that we know and a lot of the nuances that are familiar, but it's different, right? It's just different altogether. And so even if maybe you're not a Star Wars fan, I think you could still appreciate The Mandalorian. So even if you're not a Star Wars fan, go check it out. Watch a couple of episodes and see if it's something that you can get into, because to be totally honest with you, I wouldn't have thought that it was something that I could have gotten into, because I just normally don't get into TV shows like that. But this is a really cool one. Let's check this guy out. Like I was just saying, I know that there's a lot of people that are going to say this is the most iconic part of the film, and I guess it's a little top heavy because of the frog. So in this part of the series, he, I guess, is hungry, and the Mandalorian is talking to somebody, and this frog comes hopping by, and he just grabs the frog and wolfs it down. And so then it became like this big memes. There's probably 100,000 memes out there about the child and frogs and sippy cups, and that's where I think the cup came from. Now, I might have just forgot what part of the series that came from, but that's where I think that one might have come from, was just simply in the... I am sure that this guy has created more memes than just about any other character in existence. And I don't know that that's true, but I know that you can't go anywhere without seeing memes of the child. And like I was saying, if y'all haven't checked this out, you should probably go check out a couple of episodes. Now, you can only get it on Disney Plus, so that is kind of a downside of messing with The Mandalorian, is that it only comes on the Disney Plus, and there's not a whole lot of other stuff that I want to watch on Disney Plus other than The Mandalorian, and it took them almost a year to come out with another season, right? So I mean, it took them a really long time to come out with another season, but that could be because of all the CG, that could be because of Corona, that could be, you know, there's so many that could be's that it's almost impossible to say what really that is. So it's not a deal breaker to me that it took that long. I wish that they would have came out a little faster, but if they would have came out a little faster, then maybe I wouldn't be that into it, right? So maybe that was something that they knew that they were doing. You know, I don't 100% know, but I'm hoping that this season is going to give us some more like backlight on The Mandalorian. It's going to give us a little bit more backlight on the child and exactly who he is. So we'll see coming up into it. These Funkos are quickly like... These pops are quickly becoming some of my biggest collection that I have is quickly becoming The Mandalorian, because I have become such a huge fan of The Mandalorian. But hey, let's be honest, I've always been a Star Wars fan, so being a Mandalorian fan's just not that far of a leap for me. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and become part of the Wayneko crew. Guys, there is no Wayneko crew without you, and I truly appreciate you watching. Until next time, have a good one.